such an asshole.
Good morning, children. Today's video is brought to you by two books linked below that would have helped out. Would have. It's too late now. Am I right, millennials? Huh? You knew everything 5-10 years ago, didn't you? That was more like 15. How Not to Become a Millennial and Worthless to Young Person's Indispensable Guide to Choosing the Right Major. And so that'll help everyone who reads it, including the millennials, and especially in terms of how to salvage the remaining half of your life that remains. So let's go through this one. It's a interesting philosophical one for younger people because you're taught helplessness and woe is you, and we'll clarify ability, all that. Mr. Clary, so I watched your video on my previous request. This is my follow-up challenge to you. Do you still believe that ability is inherited or gained? It is both, but I would replace gained with earned. Because ability, you might have a natural penchant for something. Like some people just have a natural penchant for art. Other people have the physical abilities to have the natural ability or potential, I think would be a better word. They have the potential to be a great athlete, but you still need to drill and work at it and develop the skill. So, in other words, ability is the consequence of, well, I say ability, skill. It's, I guess we're going with different words, but ability, you're able to do something requires two things, not if or, requires two things: the physical or mental ability to actually do the thing, and then the skill, which is developed through work and practice to execute on it. So you have potential, right? You can actually do the thing physically and mentally. You have the raw materials, but then to do the thing itself, whatever specific thing it is, requires skill, education, training, or just experience. One, you believe that most can succeed if he tightens his belt, takes it upon himself that the world does not owe him a living, plus put his nose to the grindstone and put in his dues. Not so. Hard work is 50%. The remaining 50 is talent. Yes, this presupposes you have the ability to do it, which I addressed beforehand. If you are mentally impaired, like I guess the cutoff point is an IQ of 83. If you got a lower IQ, like you just can't even mop the floor. Or if you're, again, physically handicapped, you're in a wheelchair or something like that. But yeah, that doesn't negate what I said before. The remaining 50% is talent. You have talent as a foundation to build off of that. No talent, not happening. Correct. Right. But the talent to do what? See, you make it like this universe. You make it you either have talent or you don't. And it's like, no, you got the talent to do something. Maybe not what you want to do. Like, okay, I don't have the raw material or the talent, natural, unrefined raw talent to play basketball. I'm just not tall enough. But I got the talent to do a bunch of other things. I could program computers. I obviously, when finance, did credit analysis and accounting and taxes. If I put the effort into it, computer networking. I have the talent, limited as it is, to do just general menial labor. Like I did my retaining walls and a whole host of carpentry projects and fixing the truck. And most people have some kind of talent to do some kind of job. It's just not the job you guys want to do. I want to be a video game designer. I want to help the children, whatever that means. So yeah, if you have absolutely no talent, absolutely no capacity to do any kind of productive labor, then yeah, but again, we're now relegating you to people who are mentally impaired or physically impaired, that they cannot do the job. And even then, you look at what's his name, Stephen Hawking, who was it ALS or some? I mean, he was in a wheelchair. He could barely. He had to talk through a voice box. Even he was able to do something. So I'm sorry to all the young people out there that are looking for an excuse not to work. Well, I have the his or the autisms or the Asperger's, or I'm depressed or whatever. When actually most of you don't. You're just whining and complaining. There are people out there, and I'm sure that can go in the comment section. But someone was paraplegic or quadriplegic, paraplegic. One guy talked about some gal he knew who was in a wheelchair all of her life, and she still ended up working some kind of office job. Got pregnant, had 2 kids, and in other words, it is a very rare instance someone has no ability to do anything. And I know the younger people, and I know we pick on millennials, but it's any younger people where they tell you can do whatever you want, money will follow. And people are like, I want to be a baseball player. It's like, no, some people just get to dig the ditches. And that's the sad truth about most labor. Most people are not going to go do some dream job that they tell you you're going to do in college or school or high school or what you see in Friends, whatever the hell people did in what they did in Friends is they didn't work. You never saw them just going to the regular old office doing the boring 9 to 5. So yeah, you do need I don't know if it's 50. I would say it's like 10% you have the ability, 90% you put in the work. But you're wrong on not so and hard work. Himself does not put on it because you're confusing effort. You're making an exception. You're like, oh, you need to have hard work is 50%, the remaining 50% is talent. Yes. But presuming that, yeah, you put in the work, you will develop the skill and the ability. You have no talent, not happening. What you want to be and what you were made to be are 2 totally different things. Right. You're right. What you're capable of doing and what you want to do is I would love to be a professional tig-bittied redhead fornicator. And maybe I could be that, but another thing is anyone going to pay me for it? No, they're not. But right, you're right. What you're going to be versus what you want to be are usually 2 different things. And we have a whole generation that just wasted their youth majoring in dumb crap because the boomers lied to them about what they do when you want. The money will force, like probably the world's most life-destroying advice right there. I think the only more life-destroying advice as a percentage of the people that it was intended for would be blame white people for your problems, as they tell the black community. I don't know which one. I mean, generationally speaking, follow your heart and money will follow. But then, and you could say any traitism, blame those people over there, ends up destroying the people that it's told to because it puts them into indifference and apathy or inaction. It demoralizes them, thus guaranteeing they don't. But this misdirected trillions of dollars and decades of people's individual youth into life-destroying consequences, or at least life-impairing consequences. You must have pre-existing innate talent as a foundation to build your career off it. Yeah, you're right. You're a hack and have no business in whatever you want to do. Oh, no, I see what you say. You don't, then you're a hack and have no business in whatever you want to do. Correct. So far, yes. You frequently attribute modern American society's ills to parasitism, laziness, fear of work, and a sense of retirement that is enabled by a behemoth welfare state and helicopter parents. True, that's only half the problem. It's that they are deceived by malicious parents and teachers into believing the prosperity gospel. You got it. Yep. They not only did they tell, like now it's coming up on 3 generations of young people that follow your heart and money will follow, but they knew what was going to save the world. Instead of just people working hard and producing goods and services and making ourselves materially wealthier, but then also saying maybe you ought to find love and family. They have where did it go? The prosperity. Yeah, they also said, well, this is good. Ooh, socialism is good. Environmentalism is good. Leftist politics is your value. Yep, they lie to people. So not only do people waste their time and efforts and money on majoring in absolutely worthless crap and going into crippling financial debt to achieve that, they also said what's really important is not love or family. It's not sex. No, it's whatever ism that you put in there. It's social justice. It's environmentalism. It's it's feminism. It's this or it's that. So you wasted, I guess you would say, your spiritual life as well. They aren't special. They can't be whatever they want to be. They can't have it all. They are talentless. They aren't special. They can't be whatever they. No, they aren't talentless. This is where you and I are going to differ. It's either I have my ability to follow my dream and the money will follow, or I don't. Government, give me a check. No, there's this thing called the real world where most people are going to end up. And that is you're going to work a job that sucks. Maybe it's not going to be horrible, but you're going to, most of us could drive truck if we wanted to. Most people could do insurance or some kind of basic clerical work. That's the sad reality. So you're not completely talentless. You're just not sexually talented. And sexually, I don't mean like Sterling Cooper, like a porn star. I mean, it's not exotic. It's not sexy. Like, ooh, you're an internet influencer. Like this is, and I didn't even try. This was, I'll admit, rank dumb luck. Never said this was a skill or a talent. I mean, there's some ability, I guess, involved in this. But everyone's, ooh, investment banker, ooh, video game computer. It's like, hey, how about database administrator? That's what everyone want to focus on, or they're just lazy and don't want to work. Those are your two extreme camps. But everything in the middle is, well, maybe you're just a barista. Maybe you're just a bartender. Maybe you're, one of the millions of type of jobs. Like maybe you work at a factory making cans. Chris Beckloff makes boxes. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't say, oh, I didn't get my dream job. Oh, oh my goodness, I have I have the depressions. Give me SSI, give me disability. I can't possibly work. I need my Adderall. No, get out there and shovel. I mean, get out there and mow. You don't get your dream job, fine. Here's all the boring work that humans have done since time eternal. And then only for those of you that have genuine dysfunction, you might have a desire even, but you have not the raw ability, the raw talent, the predisposed genetic ability to do it because you're mentally impaired or physically impaired. And that's exceptionally few. I'd say that's less than 1% of the human population. They are talentless. They can't succeed in life. The American dream is far beyond them. No, that they are. If you're truly talentless, yes, the American dream is beyond you. But they are not. Just because they can't be whatever they want to be doesn't mean they're talentless. And yes, the American dream is I don't know. That's where minimalism comes in. Like you just work a regular job. Well, let's go over it again. The American dream, I would say, is well within reach of most people. What is it, boys and girls? Don't major in stupid crap. Don't have kids you can't afford. Don't commit crime. Spend less than you make. And you should be able to get a house. Maybe not a fancy house, maybe not a big house, but a bachelor hut, little piece of land. If you do those things, you should be able, even by today's standards, you should be able to afford a house. Maybe not fresh out of high school, but let's say you live at home, save up your money, work a real job, you don't go into debt, and by the time you're 25, you got $100,000. You could find a piece of land and put a little hut on it, and it's for their own good. Yeah, we shouldn't be telling people that they can follow their heart and money will follow. 3, two people in the same situation respond totally differently, especially the genders. Man and woman are in a survival situation. Most times it is the woman who panics and the man, the clear-headed one who solves the problem. Men are meant to fight, work, and solve hard problems. Women are not. Whether that's true or not, it's moot and academic. The sexes are leaving each other alone, and they're going to have to go through life without the other. And so everyone's going to have to solve their own problems. Their job's to help the man raise kids and otherwise stay out of his way if she has nothing to add, and don't take over his job. In the past, women acted out of line. Men were expected to discipline them. Then he goes on a little bit, but I'm going to skip this part. Yeah, two people in the same situation. It could be two guys and two girls. They're two different people. They're going to respond differently. I still don't see how this means, like, what women can't work. Women have proven they can work. I've said before, I will only hire female editors because they are way better than men at finding mistakes. I think women make great accountants and auditors. Women have, I know a lot of people have complaints about women entering the labor force, and I'm certainly not only sympathetic but fully agree that creating make-work government nonprofit jobs where there is no ultimate end economic production, like social workers, like the girls go, please, you're not doing anything. But you're ignoring all the female doctors, the female accountants, the surgeons, there are female tradesmen. tradeswomen. They do, and again, doesn't have to be sexy. Female wait staff, female, there are female entrepreneurs, female truck drivers, whatever. It's, but yeah, two different people. But that doesn't mean, again, it's not mooting my point. Unless you're truly physically or mentally incapable of doing something, there's usually something society needs that you can do. The worst we could do is sell someone that he can be someone who he isn't. Correct. To say otherwise is, quite frankly, a lie. A loser needs to be told he is a loser. A fool needs to be told he's a fool. A runt should be told he is a weakling. They need to know their limits and don't go beyond them. I'm turning 30 soon, and the truth that I was a talentless and not special is a source of great joy and peace to me. Right. So you never tried and failed at something that you were simply not capable of doing. Right. If you're not that good, right, you should be assessed accurately. I agree. It made me aware of who I was not. It made me stare reality in the face, except there is no divine purpose in the universe for me. As bodybuilder Mike Bolkovic says, a lot of people come in here, work out hard, take a bunch of stuff, and think they're going to look like me. That isn't how it goes. So once again, I ask you, do you believe, in light of all my logical and true arguments, you erroneously assume they're true, and you erroneously assume they're logical? There's some slight flaws. That hard work is the primary prerequisite for success rather than natural talent. Yes, hard work is. It's the primary prerequisite because usually everybody has some form of natural talent. That is but it's both. See, you're like saying it's either you got a brain or a heart to live as a human being. If you don't have a heart, then there's no, well, yeah, you're right. If you don't have a heart or a brain, it doesn't work. You're right. You need both. But I would say, in terms of like, what's the more important organ? It's a brain, because, well, okay, but you need both. Is that hard work is because usually everyone is born with a heart. So therefore you need a brain. I don't know how well that analogy works out. But yeah, hard work is the primary prerequisite. Because usually most people have the talent and the ability to do something. I mean, you're born as a little baby, you have the ability to learn to walk, right? You obviously write very well. Don't tell me you're too dumb. Don't tell me you can't program or you can't do some basic clerical work or something like that. You have an ability. Everyone has the ability to be a security guard, pretty much. I mean, yeah. That hard work is a primary requisite for success rather than natural talent. No, you need them both. But since most people do have a natural ability and talent for something, it now becomes hard work. And that's where most people just think, oh, and you're right. If you are misled by parents, teachers, guidance counselors, etc., to pursue something and achieve something, you're just not going to achieve. That is life destroying, as we've seen before here with the previous generation. But you can't go the other way. Oh, I didn't get my dream job. Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't have to work. There's no hope for me. I'm not going to work at all. Because here's the thing, and let me introduce another outside variable. You could stare at your navel and feel sorry for yourself all day. Even if you are physically incapable of working, mentally incapable of working, that still doesn't morally entitle, because if you're not going to work, who's going to take care of you? Other people. In other words, quite literally, now you have to become a slave master. You have to enslave people, albeit small and microscopically, to work extra hard and pay for you. No. Stealing other people's time is immoral. That's not right. Now, one would hope that for the very small, less than 1% of the population that is truly, genuinely, physically, and mentally or mentally unable to work, there should be some accommodations. I would argue the parents who brought them into this world, you accept the risk having a genuinely handicapped child, mentally ill person. That's your response. That's your risk. It's not my fault. Not mine. It's nobody else's fault, except for maybe the parents who brought those children into the world. So if we're going to be logical about it, factual, ethical, nobody is responsible for the handicapped people, mental or physical, otherwise, other than the parents that brought them into this world. And in the ideal world, before we come inside women, we'd be thinking, well, wait a minute, there's a chance. I would also then go so far as to other people, society should voluntaristically decide under their own whether or not to take part of their life in the form of money and help out the 1% of people who are genuinely unable to do it. But if you're going in there where you're looking for an excuse not to work, or you just don't like the fact that you have the talent and ability to do something, it's just not sexy, or you don't want to put in the work to hone and develop a skill for a mediocre, boring type of job, now everyone else has to take care of you, and you are a thief. You are a slave master. You're vile. You're evil. You're a criminal. I don't care if it's legal or not. I'm not talking about that. You're a parasite. That's what you are. Right. And yes, the truly, genuinely physically disabled people are also parasitic, but they have no choice. And I'm going to guess you have a choice. You're not dumb. I smell like you're trying to look for an excuse as to why you don't have to work. And again, I've talked about this before. Guys, if you don't want to work, go ahead. Don't work. All right. Enough guilty liberal white women have voted in a very generous social welfare program where you can just play your video games all day and not do anything. It's going to be a miserable life. You will even find some value and purpose in work because once you're no longer a kid, fun stuff, novelty, runs out. You're like, well, what do I do with my day? It's like, get out there and go do something. Do something productive. But let's be very clear. All right. Most of you are not going to get your dream job. In part, you may even have the talent and the ability and put the skills into it. But if you're not in the right network or clique or have the right connections, you're not going to get that job. All right. So that's another one, which is not meritocratic, which is why if I was ever president, there'd be anti-nepotism and cronyism laws punishable by death. You fail in that regard, either because you don't have the natural ability or talent, or because of nepotism and corruption and cronyism, you're never going to get that job. Then you say, well, okay, I didn't get my dream job, so I must not have talent or ability because you don't want to work the boring, mundane jobs that everybody else has to do. Right? And you fake helplessness and victimhood. Oh, I have a mental disorder. No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh, I don't have the ability. Nearly everyone has the ability. 99% of the people have the raw talent to do something of which by they can support themselves. May not be glorious, may be tough going. Yeah. It sucks to be dumb. It sucks to work entry level all the time and unskilled labor. But that doesn't entitle you to then lie on society like, oh, well, it's not the job I like. Oh, I can't do it. I lack the genetic ability. Now you're just stealing other people's money and you're a parasite. That's it. And you do not have the excuse of, well, God, the guy doesn't have use of his limbs. That guy's blind. Or that person is genuinely, alcohol baby. Whatever, that person lacks the cognitive function or is genuinely mentally insane that we got to put them in an institution for their own safety. But that is so rare. That is so, but man, I see nothing but a lot of whiners and complaining. I don't want to work the night shift. And then I look at Chris Beckloff, where this guy is brilliant and he's perfectly happy working at a box factory. I don't care what you guys, I really don't, because in the end, always looking for it costs more energy and labor to always go and get handouts, and it will destroy you mentally avoiding work. You're going to spend more energy and effort avoiding work than if you just bite the bullet, put in your effort and time, and get some kind of skill, whether that's truck driving or some, work in security, anything, shoveling driveways. Well, you don't know how to shovel a driveway. You don't know how to dig a ditch. You don't know. Look, really, you don't know how to hold the sign at the construction site on the roads. That life, avoiding that level of working, it's a miserable life, and you only get one of them. So I don't care, really. I used to get angry. It's like, I got to work more to pay for these people. And then you look at their lives, it's like, wow, you go so far. You start to enter into the world where, oh, I got a mental illness when you don't. Or I'm depressed. Well, maybe if you got out and did so, okay, fine. But the mental torture you put yourself through, not going out and working, not participating, not doing something, not exercising your body and mind as the way it's supposed to be, that's a horrible life. And then if it gets really bad, not only do you start reaching out for excuses, but the excuses start becoming your identity. I'm a victim. I mean, how many women's studies majors and feminist activists, how many of them are happy? Like, not only is it work avoidance, like, I have no, well, you got the ability to get a master's degree in feminism, so you have the ability to do other things. You obviously are capable. But your entire job, your entire life existence is avoiding work, and making it worse is that your entire value system is that you're a victim and you got hoo-ha. And now we see even going further and worse is people are so afraid of putting in effort, not necessarily in a labor sense, but also in a social engagement sense, that not a lot, but it's increasingly it's becoming the trend now. And I fear it, if this catches on, you got the teenage suicide, don't do it, where in the movie Heathers, to be popular, girls were taking sleeping pills and offing themselves, which is a movie from the 90s, a dark, funny one. But now more modernly, what they're doing, girls are going for teenage girls are going for top surgery. Is it because maybe you ought to get good grades and go do something? And nope. Usually it's just to be popular. That's what it is. And if you think that isn't going to be a nightmarish existence, holy cow. I know work sucks. It does. But the only try it my way. The only thing worse than working is not working. The only thing worse than having a job is not having a job. And it again, your guys' life, you guys could do what you want with it. You could always look for a reason you can't work, but buddy, you're writing just fine. And I agree with you on most of your stuff. You're right. If we shouldn't be lying to kids, we shouldn't be lying to people about what they're capable of. If you're a moron, we should tell you. We should do skills testing and all that. And we should channel people. But you weren't able to work as a corporate executive at Disney? Oh, you weren't able to do, okay, here's your welfare check. Nope. And you'll find here's another thing. The money's going to run out. The money will never run out. We'll just print more. It's what the money will buy you. And when your government check, your disability check or your welfare check or your EBT doesn't buy you anything because there's no food, you're going to start finding out what real work is really soon. Very soon. Whether you think you got the talent for it or not, we're all going to have to work. But that's all right. I'm used to working. All right. So link below is how not to become a millennial. And then also Worthless, the young person's indispensable guide to choosing the right major. Hat and Clog, $2. Practice makes perfect. Go do the work. Yeah. And another thing is the economy. Humans have been here a long time. We've evolved and the technology has been created and advanced that it's not like, I just have this raw ability to program. You got to learn the code. You got to learn the language. Nearly everything that pays decently, there's a vast history of human endeavor and canon that has gone into that field that you have to master it first in order to have an employable skill at the end. Mac Wilson, $2. You said you studied IT networking before. Why did you stop? Because a bank threw a lot of money at me. I got pulled back into banking. And then when I got out of that banking, I was making enough money with books. I think I wrote Worthless back then and started making some enough money with that. And I have these online finance classes that I taught. Plus, I lived minimalistically. I had a duplex that I lived in, so I didn't really have rent to pay. I actually made money on that. I didn't have a mortgage. And there's a piece of me that wish I continued on with it, because it made sense, obviously. But then this happened. If necessary, I'll go back. We ever get the platform. I won't sit there. I just like, okay, here we go. That's it. All right, there you guys go. See, links below to those books. See you guys later. Toodles.